Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order. This is the February meeting of the Historic District Commission. We have 3 members absent tonight, so this is our quorum. I'm Martha Ball. I am the vice chair and acting chair of this meeting in the absence of Arlene Tunney, who is our chairman. Bill Cook and Kay McManus are not going to be here tonight either. So if we could all introduce ourselves, starting with
Elizabeth Moss.
Mike Ballard.
and everybody, please remember to turn on your microphone till the green light is on and not rustle. Where'd Corey go? Oh. And not rustle our papers. Okay, now I'm just going to find my agenda, which I've lost already. Not a good sign, folks. No. The last thing I need is another piece of paper. Okay, offshore trading, I understand, is not on tonight. Okay, so if anybody's here for the sign application for the building behind the Seacrest, that will be heard next month. The next is Cat Rock Cove, Plat 7, Lot 19, file number 30, application by Peter Mott to construct a maintenance building at the post office building. Peter, you representing yourself? Okay, now anyone who's in the audience who's speaking, we're going to ask you to go to the microphone because these all are being recorded, and be sure the green light is on when you speak. So if you could do that and tell us what you want to do, please. Stand up.
And the location of it, the building.
If anybody has any questions, just please ask Peter. That's at the table. Just ask Peter. Don't wait for me to recognize you.
Oh, you want me to tell you anything particular?
Someone here must have a question. Elizabeth, do you have anything?
Yeah, just the question for the actual placement of it and its relationship to the existing building. I see you've got the plot plan, which is great, and it looks like it's proposed to be erected in the area that is currently the solar array.
Yes.
Okay, and looks like the total height is, I think, 30 feet.
30 feet.
But I don't know what the actual relationship to the adjacent post office building is, because walking around the site today, I went up to the church, went up to the pavilion, and to the freight area of the parking lot. So it's a pretty visible site from potentially from those 3 vantage points.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna see this. So it's gonna have some impact on the post office building and the mansard roof, just from the vision points. So just trying to understand a little better the relationship to your proposed new building, to how it's going to affect the sight lines of the existing structure next to it.
Yeah, it seemed like we were trying to tuck it behind it on the from the west. It was not like it wasn't going to be out to the south.
This is just a curiosity. What's happening with the solar panels?
Oh, I think we're going to get a generator. They're getting older, or oh yeah, here's my buddy. We could put some modern ones on the roof, but the generator is what we're talking about for the backup, for the
On the roof
emergency.
of the proposed new building.
Yeah. Yes.
Yep. Right. No, I agree, and they're at the end and they're useful.
Sorry, I talked to
This
Chris,
is-
yeah, I'm the contractor.
This
for
is,
him.
the
My name's
conch.
Austin Moore. I talked with Chris Workle about the solar panels, and he said they're actually not even in use right now. They're just as a backup system, which is probably what Pete was saying.
But then if there's a generator and equipment on the roof, how would that impact further the roof line? I don't know whether,
No, where, do you have a spot you would like it? Right by the air conditioner.
Which is where?
But that's not part of this plan, is it? Is it on this plan?
No, it's in the designated spot, but I pointed out. And along the hidden side of the,
Okay, we've had a little confusion just at the table. So just for clarity's sake, when we talk about the back side of the building, are we talking about the east or the south?
east.
Okay, great, fine. Just as long as we're all on the same page about that. Thank you.
So you're suggesting that the solar array is just going to be discontinued and will not be replaced?
I know it's not our purview to do anything with the interior, but just looking at the plans, it looks like there's a staircase that's going right around the windows. So I don't know if that's any concern to us or not. I defer to you. I mean, right here, we're gonna see stair right next to the windows.
But is that more of a, that's more of a code thing, right? You just want to make sure those windows meet code being next to a staircase?
No, my question was more of a visual. I
Okay,
mean,
yeah.
you're gonna see stairs at your window, but
They are interior stairs though, yeah,
right.
Right.
and the window is.
The west side.
Which post office is that?
Oh, I think you're pointing about the architecture.
Again, I don't know which paper. Oh. No, I know, but visually from outside, that's what I'm saying. I don't know whether that's a concern or.
Well, we're not really
or
going to
not.
see them. I'm rustling my papers again. As long as it meets code, that's, because if it doesn't, you have to come back to us. That's the only thing.
Again, just about the sight lines, one of the things that kind of sticks out to me is just the overall massing of this proposed new addition. I mean, I see that what is it, what are we calling the primary, the south elevation starts beyond the edge of the existing building. If you look at the plan more. So I know when you're standing up at the church, it's just gonna be something that I think is gonna jump out and be pretty visually noticeable. So I don't know how you came to this size. Is this the minimal size you needed to meet your needs or?
Yeah, it's the, I would say this would meet all of his needs without cutting back, and it's the size that we have there, and that's. Yeah. There's, yeah, that we could fit in that existing square footage. I think she's more talking about height. though.
Yeah, I took a photo from up at the church today. Let's see if I can find it.
Is there any setback on the east side?
Is it 10 feet? Or is it 5 foot? 5 foot, 5 feet.
Does the existing wall represent the property line?
Please do.
No, the lot lines, on the other side of the hedges.
Just stay on up here.
That's the lot.
Peter or Oliver, whichever one. On this map, could you come up? Where, so you're saying where the lot line is, where? Post office is here, new building is here, lot line is,
5 feet.
okay, great, thank you. So you don't have any latitude to move the others.
This was
Yeah, so I
from
mean,
there.
it will from that spot, but it will be pretty hidden from anywhere else in town, as it'll be the main building.
Right, as I mentioned, you'll see it from the pavilion, from the church, and from the freight office.
Yeah.
From the freight parking, which is,
Certain some areas.
Is the issue that we're talking about, that the proposed building is architecturally different than the post office and would appear to be in addition to the post office from almost any vantage point since it's so close? Is that the point?
well, no, I think it's really just gonna have a funny impact on the existing
Yeah.
building. I mean, if it could be pushed which directions. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it can go further.
I think the mechanicals
as-
are to the north.
As far as space and building with, you wouldn't be able to push it back without
Okay.
changing the building size and being able to fit in that space with the staircase there and this grade of the landscape there. The other buildings.
There's a large amount of blank wall that's going to impact you as soon as you drive into the parking area. That's what you're going to see.
No, this
Not-
this
not
is
if-
facing, there's an alleyway, I think, between the post office. I don't think you won't see this
15 minutes.
unless you walk.
Coming in here, it's
She's
You're
if
really
you're
gonna see
saying
that.
because it sticks out past the one.
But it's basically where the solar panels are now.
Yes, correct.
Thanks.
Oliver, is that gonna be a year-round, apartment upstairs?
No, I think that's just mostly office space, and if he's out there in the snow in the winter, then it's a spot to go keep warm, to change clothes if he has to. But we don't plan on renting it out. to
So this
anyone
building
as a
is,
source of income.
is for what? Which isn't our concern either, but I'm just curious. So
The main building is a maintenance building, basically.
it's like a great big separated owner's closet.
What's that?
It's like a big owner's closet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still think personally, my real concern still is just the front portion of it, how it sticks out. I mean, I think that's gonna have negative visual impact. But I don't
mean,
know.
The panels do stick out that much.
Yeah.
Right,
I
but
know
the
it's, I know it's not a big
panels-
build.
the-
Yeah.
That's what I was saying in terms of the height. I can't figure out the relationship to the existing, the panels are very low.
Yeah.
I mean, they're,
How far is,
this is 30
But you
feet
could
high.
still see that anywhere you could,
I mean, you can see the water, but I think, are we gonna lose, it's just the view from up at the church and looking around the adjacent buildings. I think that was just something that struck me today as I was walking around. I saw Peter today as I was poking around.
I personally, I don't think it would stand out too much, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
I think you pretty much tucked it in as best you can up there.
But no, it is a tight space. I
Yeah.
acknowledge that.
And I think from the north view, it's better off than having this one wall. It cuts it up, it breaks it up. I think it's gonna look really nice from looking at it from the freight yard or whatever, or parking lot. instead of-
Oh, great. I think from the freight, it's gonna look fine. It's the other side that I think is the one that's I don't know what, if any, options there are.
Yeah, I think it's only 20 foot wide, so if you went with mansard roofs, you'd lose all the upstairs, a lot of space upstairs. And it's for a garage. I don't know if he has a choice. I don't know about the kitty cat.
What is the kitty cat?
That stands for his LLC, Cat Rock Cove.
The kitty cat, for anyone who doesn't look at the plans, is an image of Block Island, and a cat is what do you call it? Not carved into the shingling, but
The shaped shingles.
I don't know what the
Yeah,
term is for
the
that.
actual term of what it's called when you weave in it. Yeah.
What did you just
Woven in
say?
design. That's it.
Anyway, that's what it's a decorative. Shingling. That's all that is. What kind of windows and such, is that all on here?
Yes.
I don't know if they're listed, but it should be all Anderson 400 series, windows, Roscoe doors, and
Yeah, vinyl clad wood for the windows, all Anderson.
yeah, and we'll be doing cedar shakes or cedar shingles, not vinyl.
Do you call out an exterior metal door? I mean, I don't know if that's a code issue for a garage, but if it's not, I would object to the metal door and would recommend a wood door.
For the main garage door, what were you thinking?
Or
for that?
the north elevation next to your kitty cat.
Oh, okay, the door there, yeah, that would be a wood door.
Okay, because it's
Right.
called out as metal.
Do you want metal?
Thermal through.
Whatever was on the plans, I hate to, I altered the guy's plan.
No, I know, but I mean, per our guidelines, we're supposed to, this way, the HDC guidelines say, unless it's a code issue, they don't want metal doors.
Well, that's what I'm going for. This is, everything here tonight is just this preliminary. So the only thing we're really looking for is massing and citing any details. So if you want to talk about for future guidance, that's fine. The guidelines, I think I'm the only person that knows this line, but there's this great line in Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one, the guidelines. Nobody knows what I'm talking about. The Pirates Code, they're more just like guidelines. I think it's a reasonably good design for a tight space, a small space. I don't think putting trying to mimic the coast, the large size of the post office would work at all. This is more of a traditional outbuilding shape. And it's buildings like that all through the zone, so.
No, I agree. My only real concern was that issue of
The
some of
view,
the sight lines and particularly from up at the Harbor Church. But there, for the use of it, there may not be a workaround.
And I think in all fairness, the view from the church is not what it used to be.
Not what it used to be, but you don't
It's
want to make
nowhere,
it
it's
worse.
no, it's pretty much
Is
gone.
that the old church?
The sixth church. The the parking lot is there, the pavilion, which is wonderful, is there. The post office is there. But heck, there used to be, the Shamrock used to be where the post office is now, and that was a big building that blocked the whole view, so things come and go. And full disclosure, I'm a member of the executive board of the Harbor Church. Does anybody want to take any action on this?
Make a motion for plot 7, lot 19, for, what do you call it?
At Rock Cove.
At Rock Cove, but it's for the building, that's.
Maintenance building at the post office.
Yeah, the maintenance building, the post office, but it's for just.
30 Water Street.
For the preliminary massing or
Yeah, Masson,
sighting.
what's the word?
Sighting and massing.
Yeah, it's inside Masson. The building next to the post office, 20-foot wide and 47 feet long in total. The height is 30 feet.
Traditional gable. Traditional gable.
Traditional gable roof.
As per the application.
I'm deaf today, but yeah,
As shown on the plans.
that's shown on the plans.
Peter, does the building have a name other than the post office, which is? Okay, so can we just add that, change that to the current post office building?
Current post office building?
Yeah. Second that?
I'll second that.
Any other conversation, any other questions? Is there anything else you'd like them to look at between now and next meeting, which will be next month? Hopefully the final will be next month. Do you want any detail, any of the detail?
Just to confirm the doors and look at that. And,
Windows is.
yeah.
The windows, I think, are okay. If you could look at the door and see what the code compliance is for what you're trying to do in there, and if there may be another kind of door you can use that's not metal. That'd be great. It shouldn't.
It should not.
Okay, so we'll be back next month for the final approval. Unless something catastrophic happens between now and then. All in favor? Mark? Aye. So voted.
Thank you.
Yes. The next one is the town of New Shoreham. Dylan, are you here? Yes, you are. Okay, so we have a box to go around all of those fancy mechanicals we had last time.
Yes, we did our best to provide a roadside rendering. See that in your packet.
Okay, I think we should explain for anybody who wasn't here. This is for the pump station. Is this for both pump stations or just one?
So this is for both pump stations on Ocean Avenue.
Okay.
We're in the process of upgrading the pump stations to conform to resiliency standards per DEM and EPA requirements. That would require us to raise the pump stations 3 feet to protect against flooding from sea level rise or impending storms that may occur to the island. The commission's proposing 2 alternative designs at each site. Alternative number 1 in each station would involve a placement of a building, 12.5 feet by 12.5 feet. Now, the height is not in this letter. My assumption is that as the current pump stations are about 5 feet, and the 3 plus 3 would be 8. If we were to consider 12, they would be upwards of 20 feet tall. I believe if you're going to ask any questions pertaining to the height, I would have to get back to Jim Jeremia on that to confirm. The alternative number 2 would be just to install an outdoor enclosures to contain electrical controls, a platform, alarm monitoring equipment, and emergency generators. And for your review, plans were provided last meeting as well. However, they were very detailed.
They were engineering plans.
Correct.
So what we have in front of us looks like the building on posts. I don't understand.
So
this.
it's a building on a platform.
But the actual pump station is going to be where?
The pump station would be, the controls would be elevated. The pumps would be below ground. Essentially, if you're familiar with the Ocean Avenue 1 pump station, that's the painted pump station, it's got the
Mhm.
flowers on it. That structure would be removed. All of the existing pumps that are down below 17 feet below ground would remain. However, the controls would have to be raised up. That's the requirement. And we would include a standby generator for storm.
So you have, it looks like you just have open, it looks like it's standing on open piers.
That's correct. Yep.
Is that breakaway or is that,
Breakaway in a sense that they would collapse.
in,
I'm trying to understand.
tidal
That
surge?
is to raise the controls to be resilient against flooding and to not have any inundation in the structure or on the structure, and still allow access below the structure to get to or access the pumps.
Because
So
sometimes,
it's utility.
sometimes they do breakaway walls if it's going to be a storm surge.
I
So
understand.
it can still,
I can ask Jim that as well.
you know,
They're going to break away, but I don't believe they would be, because the point is to be resilient against the storm
right.
and maintain functionality.
Yeah, there are some other buildings in the historic district that do have that.
Sure.
Questions, folks?
You know, a complete application would include a site plan and also dimensions on the building, materials in the building.
Sure.
And it's pretty hard for me to know exactly what we're approving or requested to approve.
So as the sewer district was established prior to the Historic District Commission, I have no precedent to go back on in relation to upgrades to utilities. Now, the utilities are not always going to conform visually to normal practice for the Historic District Commission, or what would apply to a domestic or commercial. In that you're going to have some mechanical aspects, some that are necessary for, again, functionality of the system and to protect the system. So if the board could advise as to next steps for me, again, I can bring any questions or requirements to Jim Jeremia to provide you with a better perspective on what would be included. At best, at this time, his drawing was an external feature to give you some perspective.
That's really all. that
Yeah,
we're dealing
and
with.
as far as what would be used as material, it would conform to normal Historic District Commission standards. Proper
But we need to
siding.
See what you're proposing. There are little various different materials for the piles.
Right,
Also for the building too. I mean,
sure.
it could be shingled or it could
It would be
be
shingled.
cement
It would be shingled.
clapboards or,
It would not be clapboards. It would be
but
shingled.
the application should include that.
The application should include that. Thank you.
That, but can we just talk about the form of the building right now? And because this is
About what, Martha?
just the form of the building, because this is preliminary again. And
Well, what side
this
is
is
the door?
what we're looking for.
The side of the door is facing, it would be facing the wetland.
Okay.
The side we don't have.
The door, yeah, and for instance, I noted that you had brought up, your requirement for wooden doors. Again, that may not,
Well, I think you're in a different category.
yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah, I
I'm
think
trying
yours
to,
is gonna be.
I'm
metal.
trying to meet you in whatever capacity.
No,
we
I
can, so-
suspect you're in a
Yeah.
unique category.
Sure. But again, I can provide those details.
Yeah, I think yours is primarily code driven, I think.
It is.
I think so.
Yeah,
Right, I think we're trying to get a feel of whether the Historic District Commission would want to see a 20-foot structure in that location, as it would affect the view shed of, the,
Do we have options?
Well,
If we want
you-
to, or-
we could remove the structure and then there would be a small enclosure around the controls. It would be more exposed, visually, perhaps less appealing, but that's subjective. Again, because of the height of the building and relative view shed.
I'm not sure I'm fully following that. So the option, if there
So
are options.
If I was to remove the structure, the profile of the building would be lower. You wouldn't. have-
Right, you'd lose the roof line.
Right, exactly,
So it would end at about,
correct.
Is that a reasonable alternative?
Is a reasonable alternative.
so the roof is not protecting,
The roof, there would be a small structure over the controls that would allow an operator in there to service the pump station. Likely 8 to 10 feet at most. So it would probably be about 4 feet lower than the proposal of the structure.
Hmm.
So you'd be falling in closer to
15 feet.
15 feet.
The last time you came, there was a discussion of doing some kind of vegetative screening.
There has been discussion of that. I believe where we stood with that was the concern of if we needed to produce a bypass at the station, access to the facility to place piping and other mechanical equipment. Again, that can be reviewed and discussed. I would have to see that decision in minutes. What was discussed pertaining to that. I was not here for that discussion.
yeah, I think what everybody wants is the least that we can do.
Sure,
I'm sure that's what you want because it would be the
Sure.
least expensive.
sure,
And
that's correct.
this is probably more than you have to do. And I'm not sure if,
That is correct. We're trying to we understand that raising the pump station and create and enhancing its profile is going to in some aspects be visually unappealing, no matter what. But there's certain things that we have to do. We're trying to find some common ground and creative solutions to any concerns, especially in regard to our neighbors who have made issue in the past of having to look at the pump
Yeah,
station.
they decided it was better, I think.
So remind us, the new one's going to be how many feet taller than the existing?
So the requirement is to raise the pump stations another 3 feet. So it would require us to place the platform between 8 and 10 feet over the ground. And then again, the controls are going to be another few feet with a small structure over that to contain them and to protect the operator.
So it could be up to another 10 feet from what we see now?
Correct.
Okay.
Again, those specific details would be best brought back to Jim. I
Just
can ask those.
Trying to get a.
Yeah, I can get a total height on both alternatives.
You're raising the platform 3 feet.
That is correct.
So whatever sits on the platform is just going up in the air.
That there,
3 feet.
currently we don't have a platform. It's a concrete cylinder.
Uh-huh.
And all of the controls are down below. So we would be adding the generators for standby power, and the controls would be brought up top as well. So they would be elevated. Now, in the 3 feet, raising the elevation 3 feet is so that the sea level cannot penetrate the pump station and affect the controls or its utility.
So those things are gonna be 20 feet deep now,
Well, the pumps will remain at their.
where they
current
are, but
depth.
the actual climbing
con-
down is gonna
Correct.
be,
The controls are going to be brought up top.
it's always freaked me out.
Well, since the goal is to maintain the lowest profile, can we see a rendering of what that option might look
Yeah, I
like?
think that would be the best
Okay.
thing to try to get some, to
And-
try to absolutely
And
minimize
to
it.
try to, is just to make sure that I come with all the information and to get a total height on
Yep.
both of those alternatives. And then we
Yeah.
can work out details of specific materials later.
Yeah.
Because obviously, choosing alternative 1 to alternative 2 will drastically or dramatically change the need for different materials. If there's no structure, there's not going to be.
Well, if
any structure on the
alternative
side.
1 has a lower profile to it, and that seems to be the objective, then that's probably where we want to put our emphasis.
Okay, so you would like to see more details on option 2, and that's the platform, lower profile.
Yes.
I understand. Okay,
So let's just move this along. We're not going to approve this massing because this is too big.
sure.
And I think bottom line, everybody would be better off making it smaller. We also, remember, we do have the capability of having Jim on the phone or
On the
on the Zoom, don't we?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, talk to Corey about that because
I
that,
will.
you wouldn't have to be here for that if we
Right.
have questions.
I want to make sure that all your questions are answered. and
Right.
Jim is the best person to answer some of those
Yep.
questions. However, I can take some of those technical questions back to him and we can revisit this.
Yeah, you
the
can
next
you
meeting.
can give him
Um,
most of it. Just if
but,
sometimes something comes up
But
that
it
nobody's
is more
thought of.
efficient for Jim sometimes to be here
Yeah.
to explain some of that. And he can clarify some details or perhaps has some knowledge that would benefit.
Okay, great. Well, you can talk to Corey if she has any details or
I will.
any other information, and we'll leave it up to you two to work it all out.
Sounds good.
Great. Thank you,
Very
Dylan.
much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And no action is required on that. We're simply moving it forward till next month. Island Enterprises.
Hello, everyone.
Is your microphone on?
Yes, it is. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Please identify yourself for the record.
My name is Glenn Fontecchio. I'm an architect based in Providence, Rhode Island.
And you are presenting for?
For this particular application, this is Island Enterprises. This is for renovations to the existing kitchen structure, kind of at the center of the complex.
It's the annual February application.
Yeah, it seems like that. I'm more than happy to switch it to June.
Okay, I'm really bad. This is above the kitchen?
Right, so
Spring
there's
was
an
baffles me, I'm
existing, if you
sorry.
go to C1, there's an existing highlighted structure.
Okay, hold up just a second. We've got to get a. Corey, can you give me the file for this spring house? Thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
keep-
So
ahead.
basically, you're extending the building 6 feet.
So two things. We're extending the existing roof line of the structure about 6 feet forward, and then creating a new shed for where the ice machines are. This will allow us to get a code compliant stair to the second floor, and then we're adding dormers to the existing roof line.
When you say forward, which direction do you mean?
Okay. This
North,
is-
south, east, or west?
South.
South.
Okay.
So we are still behind the line of the annex to the Spring House Hotel. This is probably the least visible building on
The
the Spring House property.
Annex, not to the annex. You're talking about the
L.
L, thank you. Is-
So.
People my age are always going to call the Mod House the annex. Just live with it.
Okay, so this is the existing L off of the Spring
Yep.
House. What we're doing in effect is we're pulling this existing structure in line with that.
Yep.
So in the photos, you can see it's probably the least visible spot on the property. We're not raising the roof line.
You're putting dormers in?
Yes. And the dormers on the more visible end are held back, what was it? Quite a bit. 14 feet. So I don't think you'll actually be able to see the dormers from outside this.
And the reason they're only going that distance is,
Well, one, there's another building. If we kept going, it would make things too tight to
Okay.
the other building. But basically, we're doing the minimum to make this functional. We're adding the code compliant stair to get to the second floor. That then is displacing the existing ice equipment, so we're building a new shed for the ice equipment. And then making the second floor usable by adding the dormers.
so fundamentally, you're cleaning up the end of
Exactly.
something in the building.
Yeah.
I think everybody's aware, Glenn has been on board with the Spring House for a while. I think your first big
15
project,
years.
how many?
15.
I think your first big project was rebuilding
The first one was fixing the exterior sewer lines
okay,
that used to come down the front veranda.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've been doing a lot of stuff. We've done the new inn for them. We've done the barn, the housing building.
the housing building is the one that,
Yeah.
to me was the most dramatic example of being able to do something and make it look like you had an old building that you had reshingled, which I did not think was possible.
We try.
You did a great job on that, so you've the advantage of having a great track record up there. Anybody have any questions about this?
No questions, but comments. I think no issues with any of the massing or I do question the windows, though. Looks like you're adding windows.
On the second floor.
Yeah.
In the dormers, yes.
Yeah. And on the
In the two
the
ends.
south elevate, right on the
Yeah.
ends. Which again, I'm just gonna refer back to the HTC guidelines, which in terms of existing windows to not introduce more windows on the historic existing structure. So,
It's really to make the second floor usable. The original second floor was minimally used. It was a very tight stair that went up to it that wasn't code compliant. It was more storage, and this is to allow this space to become offices for Springhouse operation.
Well, the dormers do that.
Right.
I think what Elizabeth is.
Right,
referring
but
to
on the
is
end-
Number of windows in. the
right.
door.
You have an issue with? Yeah, we could lose. Right. And then, well, the backside would be two of the offices would only have one window.
If
Right,
you were to
right
make-
now it's
make
like a
it
wall of
windows in
window.
the Middle,
Mhm.
drop one on either side.
Oh, right. Yeah, there would be just two.
Correct,
instead of the
But
four.
I don't think there weren't five. And there weren't.
Yeah, there's, it's four.
There
Four,
are
right, there-
four.
You would just keep the two in the middle
Yeah.
and lose the end on both ends.
I think the windows are fine, the way you presented them.
If you guys are okay with it, I'd actually, I'm happy to lose the two outdoor windows on
I
this
think that would be
elevation.
good
Yep.
too.
If we can keep the ones to the inside, which the only place you'll ever see them from are a couple of the rooms in the spring house, guest rooms. That makes those offices much more functional. They're offices. on the
Okay.
end. If you're okay with
Where
that.
are you with that?
Oh, so you want-
I'm sorry?
Oops. doesn't-
We're talking about the ends, aren't we? The gable ends?
Right.
Right now they already, the ends, they've already said they would,
Yeah.
remove,
i-
but
if-
now we're talking about the dormer.
No, hold on. Wait a minute. I just want to make sure this is clear. What did you just say you would do? Because I don't think I
Okay.
agreed with it.
For the,
There was a
Gable
concern
ends.
about the additional windows within the gables.
Okay, I don't have an issue with the gables where you presented it.
I do.
So you'd be taking the two outside ones off,
Correct.
On either end?
so it'll be.
Yes.
I got that. I don't like it.
If you guys were okay with it on the north end, which is the least visible end, I'd like to keep the four if you're okay with it. Because it makes the offices more functional.
Which,
I actually.
Do we have an elevation of that?
I don't think we have an elevation.
That's this view here. It's facing back into.
Yeah.
the hotel. You can't actually see this.
No.
Except from. up together.
That's okay. We don't have an elevation in the drawings.
Of that one, no. You will for your final. Again, this was more the end, because that end, the wall's staying right where it is.
Yep.
It's this end that I'm modifying and dragging forward.
Right, in front of the plan, I can see how that really does impact the offices.
Right.
Yeah.
So which end are we looking at now?
We're talking about the north
North
end
end.
of the building which faces the hotel.
Right.
And he just showed us a drawing that showed the two windows in place. And they will, if they're left, they will end up in the new offices.
So you want to put it back to two windows instead of
No,
four?
no.
They exist currently.
There are two windows.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So what do you want it
This
to,
is the north.
and that's all you want it to be?
On the north, I would like to keep the four windows. If you look at the plan,
Yeah,
the office is right here.
I
That
don't
would be
need,
really awful for stuff, right? But the stair side, which is the side that's facing out, which is this side, I will move this elevation forward. When we build it, but we will keep just two windows. So the visible side will just have two windows in the gable. The less visible side.
And then what about the dormers?
Right.
Because I personally still think that's an introduction of too much glass.
You already agreed to. the
Okay.
drawings. You already agreed to cutting the dormers down to two windows.
No,
No,
these are
no.
gables that we would cut the windows
Yeah.
down.
But
The-
also-
Right, I don't think
The
we-
dormers,
We haven't really discussed that yet, I don't think.
so the dormers make one, again, east side,
I mean, I think a lot of the historic gables, or particularly shed gables out here, have less windows in them than people would have if they were building them today. And I think the dormers are
Right.
smaller. So what's historically accurate, I think is just a f- a result of people doing what they were able to do, not what they wanted to do.
Different function of.
And
interior
I mean,
use
if you look at
too.
the back of some of these old buildings that have, like the Darius is a good example. They've got this big gable on the back now that probably doesn't meet the function, doesn't meet the guidelines of HDC, but we felt it was appropriate to the building. And that's being built as we speak.
Changes is on the south side, have two windows instead.
Correct.
So far.
So far.
Yeah, no, aesthetically, I don't see the benefit of the 5 windows on the dormer.
One side does have 5 and it's because of the office layout.
Right, but
Oh, yeah, you're right.
functionally, I'm not sure how that helped. I mean, you got a wall of window for that office.
I mean,
Oh.
really, I'd like to keep 2 windows minimum into each office.
Agreed.
No, right now there's 3 and that's just because of how it spaces with the walls. I could eliminate the middle window in the dormer, I suppose, or we could do a lopsided dormer and lose 1 window. Again, it's really minimally visible. I mean, if you go back to C1 and you look at the buildings that are next to this,
Okay, I'm just gonna say what I think normally when you put a couple of windows into a dormer that size, it looks like something's missing, like somebody forgot, somebody was trying to get away with whatever they could get away with or use the windows they had left over in the shed. And I just think it's a better,
It's almost better for you to have 4 windows, use the middle one.
I agree.
I think so.
I think it,
Yeah.
I don't.
well,
Yeah,
3
no, I think the
3
windows
doesn't
are
work because then
glass.
I'm left with an office with just 1 window.
sorry?
You said 3?
No,
Oh.
we said lose the middle one.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I mean, I can do that.
Okay.
But then you'd probably put them a little closer because the way the office is inside, even though we don't.
There might be a wall.
There's a wall there
Yeah.
that's kind of driving that.
I know. That's why I said just leave them.
But I can lose that middle one.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I would be happy with that.
Okay.
I think it-
We're talking about the west side or the east side? The west.
And the east side only has 4 anyway.
Right. So both sides will have 4. The only difference is the east side, there'll be a bit of a space in the middle.
I'm sorry. I can't
Both
hear.
dormers will have 4 windows. The difference is the west side will have a little bit of space between.
Yeah, I got that. What about the east side?
That will remain as it's drawn, just 4 windows. So both sides will have 4 windows. But I agree with Martha, if you put a dormer up and it's blank wall, there's something about it that feels awkward.
Right, no, you need windows, but I don't think
Yep.
a ribbon of glass follows the vocabulary.
I agree.
The whole spring house sunroom is the whole spring house sunroom is a wall of glass.
But the east side, you're not going to see the east side.
Okay, I've made those notes.
Okay, anything else?
I mean, it's the standard materials, white cedar shingle, AZAC trim, simulated historic sill on the windows, simulated divided light on the windows. Paradigm is usually the window we've used out there.
Are you, nothing to do with the application, you're able to get white cement, is that market doing better?
It's getting better, but it's still, it's a headache.
They're not getting into the summer anyway, are you?
Right.
I move that we approve the application for Island Enterprises Plat 8, Lot 84-6. As shown in the application, with the exception that the windows on the west side on the second floor will be reduced from 5 to 4. And the windows on the south end will be reduced to 2.
Mike, are you talking about? Are you talking about final, preliminary or final approval?
What are we doing?
Yeah, preliminary is supposed to and advertise. I don't know if there's any need to come back. I don't think we have any questions.
No, I
We
don't
can
know.
finalize it.
That's fine.
Okay, excellent.
Recommend propose final approval.
I second that.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Anybody, I guess, no one in the audience is talking, I guess. Okay, all in favor? Aye. So voted.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And I won't be going too far. It's insane. All of the window manufacturers. Yeah. Hey, folks.
Now you're up,
Back again.
you're up again
look familiar.
for,
Turn your hand around.
Right.
I've got this one.
Now,
you.
I'm gonna say
What?
one thing, and I don't know it's possible, but
They were
if
all in here.
we're able to, because this one is just preliminary. If we're comfortable with this and I can catch the 6:30 ferry, that would be amazing. Otherwise, I'm stuck out here till 12:30 tomorrow.
Well,
But I understand if we don't make it.
your ride
You might
just
be stuck
left.
after 12:30 tomorrow.
Well, I know that. That's the other thing. I don't even want to think about that.
Okay, so then start.
Okay, so this is on Corn Neck Road. I was approached by this couple to design for them a one-car garage with a loft in it that they can use combination when they're here for the summer as a home office and a space to work out. So it is a one-car garage. The back of it's a little longer than a normal garage, so that there's room in the back for a spiral staircase up to a loft. The loft is approximately half the square footage of the first floor. And then on the side, there's a little mudroom entrance that both houses the hot water heater and the leashes for the dogs and all that stuff. So if you look at C1, it is the dark hatched structure. So it is a 14 by 30 single-story garage with dormers and then a 8 by 12 kind of doghouse mudroom to the side of it.
So A3 represents what faces the street.
No, that faces the house.
That faces the house.
A5 represents what faces the street.
Yeah, I understand.
And just to point out in clarification, because the elevation drawing can be a bit misleading, that dormer on the front that you see to either side of the A-frame is back about 7.5 feet.
I'm sorry?
Those dormers are back about 7.5 feet from
From
this space. So they will greatly recede. The whole idea was to kind of get that look of the traditional steep slope.
Why the use of the vertical side?
Because I wanted to paint it in, we're gonna do a dark gray roof shingle. And then I wanted to paint that dark gray so that the dormers sort of blended into the roof structure instead of calling attention to them. That was the reason.
What wood are the vertical, or what material is the vertical side?
We haven't gotten that far yet. I would normally say vertical grain cedar, which is almost impossible to get right now. So that might be composite. It might be an AZAC that's painted. That's my understanding, but I actually don't have the drawings of what was approved there. Okay.
So I guess they want something different.
That might be nice to see what was to compare it to, yeah.
But they want something different, obviously.
Yeah, these owners, I
these
forgot
different
how
owners?
long ago they purchased it, but
These aren't the same owners, are they?
no.
Okay.
And these owners actually surprisingly do not want a roll-up garage door. These will be operating swing doors. Because really, the way they envision this, the garage will be a combination of, in the winter, when they lock up, they'll put their vehicle that they keep on the island into it and their deck furniture and stuff, but they won't be pulling the car in and out of the garage every single day.
Again, I know interior is not our purview, but only because it sometimes impacts the exterior.
Mhm.
Looking at A2, you've got 200 square foot loft, which is open below. I mean, how's it even possible to be open if it's a garage?
Well, so this is your second floor, of course. This is open to below. This is the usable loft. And then this is open to below with just the connection to the spiral staircase.
I guess
But-
the question may, are the walls there?
There's no wall on the inside.
But you can be open, have a loft space, but be open to a garage?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so well, again, this isn't gonna be a garage in the sense of this, in the winter, that's where they're gonna store their vehicle and stuff.
We don't come up against any code issues with?
No.
Okay.
I mean, for something that's, the massing seems going, it seems like this spiral staircase is taking up a lot of space that maybe could
Well,
be
actually,
used by,
surprisingly, far less space than a regular stair does.
understood, but, I mean, you've got a mechanical closet in the mudroom.
Right, and that's really just hot water for the little,
No, I'm just thinking of the overall massing. I mean, could any of this be consolidated? I mean, it seems like that area with the spiral staircase, there's not. But, I mean, is anything going on in there that could be some of the mudroom function? I don't know. I just. Okay.
yeah. And the thing is, they want it to be a nice building. I mean, that's why they're proposing the back. You'll actually see the spiral stair through that more glassy.
Through,
Yeah, which that jumped out at me as something that again, going back to the guidelines, even though they're just pirate guidelines, they're.
Well, except I will say.
That's a lot of glass.
I mean, these guys know I can be a bug sometimes. I mean, this isn't a historic building. This is a new and the guys
understood.
actually say that we shouldn't try to,
why all the glass if it's a garage?
that they want it to be a nice building. They just appreciate nice things. They're gonna use the upstairs of this loft, as I said, for their
understand.
office in the summer and workout room yoga space. So from that loft, they'd be looking down to their backyard and the pond that's behind them through all this glass.
No, I'm talking about that on the first floor.
Well, it's all one open space. So there's just a railing on the back of that loft. So
Yeah.
you'd be looking through all of that.
Right, be looking through
Yeah.
to their spiral
They're looking down
staircase.
the road.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I don't know,
Seems excessive.
Yeah, I think the vertical is unnecessarily fussy, those vertical slats at the dormer. And I think it's,
You'd rather see that just more shingle? Because
I
my
would.
feeling is it actually calls more attention to it when you make it shingle as opposed to a dormer that.
yeah, but if you go around any of those buildings around there, I mean, there's nothing with that vocabulary. I know what you mean. You're gonna notice the shingles more,
Right.
but I,
It's an entirely different vocabulary to begin with.
right.
photographed buildings on its island.
Yeah.
And it's been cottage. Nobody ever noticed it.
Surprised that they would want to go with something, like Dutch ships, like they have on the main house. I don't know what there's another one called.
Oh, just the steeper pitch dormers. Yeah, they're really common on the island. We've always called them lightning splitters. But
Hold on, what?
lightning splitters.
It's gonna be a tight fit, isn't it?
Yeah, there's very little space that they can build on between CRMC, their position of their septic system, their setbacks.
That's probably- that's gonna be a-
The foundation was in everything. Cement truck was coming, and also, stop.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Oh, okay. So what does everybody think?
Another comment about the windows, the second floor windows, it looks like from these elevations that they're the same height as the first floor windows, but don't really know because there's no,
And again, yeah, this is just preliminary, so this was just massing, that's why I didn't overload it, but they are the same size.
I think that's gonna make the second floor jump out more too, having, I mean, I think it might seem a little, massing wise, a little smaller if the second floor windows are even just a smidgen shorter.
I mean, I can do that, there's no code issue with.
No,
changing it,
I'm
Other,
just-
other than just proportions on the building.
Yeah, I mean, I think,
that's such a wildly, electric area.
Yeah, that's a nice term for it.
Should have had my
Right,
speaker on.
your neighbors on the,
I don't know, I mean, I wasn't clear how, I wasn't sure the boatworks was gonna work and it sure did. I don't have plant problems with it. I think it's a fun, building that has a little quirkiness to it, and I think we need a little more quirkiness,
I agree with
and
you.
a little less homogenized,
Yeah, I like it.
I'm just surprised they want something totally different than the main house, but it's what they want.
Yep,
That's the only thing that I get hung up on, because if you go down the street,
no,
a
the
quarter of
funny
a
part
mile
about it,
to
because I was,
Innisfail,
I hung out
all
on
the
the,
buildings at Innisfail have a very similar architectural design.
except the new one,
Well, the new one does too. It has that,
not as much. It doesn't seem to,
but all of the buildings from here going back towards town are much simpler
oh, yeah.
structures. And in a lot of ways, that was one of the things I was noticing along the streetscape. This is gonna look more like part of that collection of all those little barns and,
Okay.
It is a similar
I get
design.
that.
yeah.
Do what?
Maybe you could get them to put a chimney on the house at the same time.
Yeah, we need a chimney and
John
a couple of
John
houses.
Spear was determined to take that out of the plans.
Well, it did get hit by like the next door,
Every
door.
time
got
you
hit by
drive by,
lightning.
it yearns for a chimney.
Mhm.
We'll make one for you, Mike, for your
Thank you.
next birthday.
for
Um,
my-
does somebody want to make a motion on this? I think we're ready for, are we ready? We may not be ready for final, but we're sure ready for preliminary. How does everyone feel?
I'll move we approve the application for plat 5, lot 51, as proposed in the application.
Preliminary, Mike, or final?
Please, Mark. Final.
Okay. We have some findings of fact. Like plat 5, lot 51 in the historic district. It's a new building in the historic district. In an area of densely densely sited buildings of different,
Architectural design.
different architectural designs, but keeping generally with the Allen vernacular. All in favor? Aye.
I'm gonna have to vote no just for the glass in the back, but
I
congratulations.
appreciate it. Okay, thank you very much. And thank you for getting. Yes, I am. You can get a few different
And let me get this back in here. Thank you. Okay, hi.
It's been a while since I've been in front of you guys.
Now, I have no idea what you're doing here.
I don't know.
Well, hopefully I
I
can.
can't figure out the bar.
Is
Yeah,
it,
okay, hopefully I.
is it like a whole lot less complicated than it looks?
It's
It
a lot
looked-
less complicated than it looks. I tried to make it very uncomplicated. So all we're doing, so if you look at the existing photo here,
Yeah,
which you have, there's a couple of things we're doing. So if you go to the right-hand photo, where the architect has gone ahead and put a white dash line, what we want to do there is install kind of a U-shaped bar so we can connect the interior bar with the exterior bar. Right now, that window is a service window, so our clients can go there and get alcohol and bring it out to the pool. We want to pull it away from that and just put a bar in there. On the left-hand side, you'll see that he's hashed something else. That is just, that's where the bar's going.
Yeah.
It's just another view of it.
So if the bar is L-shaped and comes across.
So this bar is actually U-shaped. So I think if you go to this plan, which is the next one,
How do you get up the stairs through the bar?
you don't go up the stairs. There's no stairs.
Isn't there stairs here in the building?
No, that's from the deck. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't, you just come into the pool. This is for people who use the pool.
Okay.
Right, it's the pool bar.
It's the pool, but basically it's the pool bar, yeah, the pool and the restaurant bar. Elizabeth, if you can answer any operational questions. I just do construction for a living.
So you're just building bars?
That's all we're doing. And then, and then over the top of the bar, put an awning. By code, that has to reflect in high wind, so it's got an angle. But yes, unfortunately, all this mass amount of paper for this, I agree. The awning, if you look on the pictures here. It comes out about 6 feet. It just provides shade, it's not for replace the bar in white cedar, so when you look at it head on, it's just gonna blend into the building. Tingles, not tingles. This is, yes. That's correct. Not all Elizabeth, nothing but Elizabeth. It depends. If you approve it, it's mine. If you don't, then I'm going to tell everybody it's her design. Yeah, it's very, there is a picture. Put the picture in. Yeah, so this picture here, which is kind of the third, shows what the bar is going to look like when you're looking at it straight on. So it's very minimal. We try to keep very minimal impact. On the interior of the building, so that window, the existing window that's there doesn't meet code right now. So we're going to have to put a hurricane shutter on the inside of the building. Put a hurricane shutter on the inside of the building. So the window that's there doesn't meet code. It's not hurricane proof. So we're going to put a roll down shutter on the interior of the building. Of course, it's always a pleasure. Plus I get a free night in the hotel. So. Yeah. No. No. Elizabeth would like to. Right now. Oh, no, you move those. Oh, the sidewalks? Yes. Yeah, we got CRMC approval just to repair that sidewalk down there. And that should be starting. Yeah, that's a mess. What happens is it's the water coming from the top, it's come down and it's got underneath that concrete, got down to the retaining wall and just stuck there. So it's washed out all the dirt in the retaining wall. A little bit of a mess.
Ready for a motion? Sure. I'd like to make a motion to approve Champlin's Marina to expand on the existing outdoor bar and add a new awning per the application.
Second, please.
Thank you guys very much.
Oh, we haven't voted yet.
Oh, well,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
thank you.
so voted.
Great to see you guys again.
Right.
Oh, is that gonna be bad? We have approval of, this is your stuff? I don't even know what came from where. There were minutes in, oh, I thought there were in the stack of paper I have. Yeah, and one thing we forgot, we were gonna talk about guidelines, so. Good, okay, good. That makes much more sense. And she will be back.
There's the one thing.
When's the date?
Whatever, the 27th. same as, unless it's a leap year, it's the same as February. Okay, we don't have minutes and we're ready to adjourn. Yahoo. Somebody please second that. Second, Liz, all in favor? Aye, so voted. Okay. I hope that